With the release of the second season of Marvel Rivals and the addition of there's been a lot of talk around the balancing of the roles that are available to play in the game. Strategists are going on strike and are playing anything but strategists. 5 duelists? What is your fucking problem? Duelist players are doing what they always do and either being a pleasure to play with or the single most insufferable dickheads you will ever encounter in the community, which leaves the Vanguards. Vanguard players are kinda just chilling and watching the other two go through more mental stress than a VTuber model artist. Vanguards, however, have had the pleasure of welcoming a new addition to their class heroes. Emma's addition at the beginning of the season will have undoubtedly convinced some strategist and duelist players to try her out and maybe try out other Vanguards, and I hope that is the case. Vanguard is by far my favourite class to play in Marvel Rivals. All the heroes feel strong and useful in different scenarios, and there is a good skill gap with certain Vanguards, so if you're someone who likes to experience a learning curve with a difficult hero, that is more than available. So as someone who mainly plays Vanguard, whether it's by choice or not, I felt it would be nice to make a very basic breakdown of the different ways you can play Vanguard in Marvel Rivals. If this ends up helping even one person new to Vanguard feel more confident in playing the class, that's great. Fantastic even. If it doesn't end up helping anyone at all, fuck the lot of you. I have fun making this anyway. I also do want to state, whilst I have played a decent amount of competitive/ranked in Rivals, I don't claim to be a high ranked player, nor do I give a fuck. I have only ever played ranked so I can get to gold 3, so I can get the free skin if it's for a hero that I like playing. I only play Rivals or any game to have fun and enjoy my time. So if you are a sweat-soaked rank 1 Mega Celestial Mythic Foreskin warrior and you think I'm wrong or you think I'm full of shit, I do not care. Argue with the fucking wall. If you have any pent-up anger from the advice I give in this video, please vent your frustrations and disapproval in the comments, because the algorithm loves engagement, and I know for a fact you foot lovers are going to give it to me. The first step to playing Vanguard is understanding the purpose of the role, and with Vanguards, it's the simplest purpose in the game. Get in their face and do not leave them alone. You are a professional when it comes to harassment, and you need to do everything in your power to let your enemies know that. Just let me touch you, man. Oh. That's why as a Vanguard you're going to have at least 600 or 650 health, so that you can survive as long as possible while you pressure the enemy team and do everything in your power to ruin their day. Not only will your large health pool and offensive potential let you pick off enemy strategists and duelists here and there, but your survivability will serve as the perfect distraction for your enemy team's duelists to get in the back and dump damage on the enemy team with much less problems. Which is probably why Vanguards have so many team-ups with duelists. 9 assists and 27 Namor kills. Whoever thought this team-up was a good idea is fucking stupid. Another MVP Namor with 30 plus kills. What the fuck were they thinking? 35k! Ooh!
I'm not Hulk.
Third match in a row someone has picked Namor. This is a problem. This needs addressing, formally, professionally even. 4 matches in a row. What have they done? Someone must answer for this. As for the individual Vanguards themselves, while serving the same purpose, they offer a good variety of different playstyles and abilities. The way I view Vanguards is by separating them into 4 categories based on their abilities and strengths: dive tanks, shield tanks, entry denial, and frontliners. I categorise them like this as there are several Vanguards that have abilities that are almost identical to each other, such as a shield or a deployable asset, and serve similar purposes. Breaking down the Vanguards as categories rather than individually also makes this video much quicker to do, but will hopefully also cover how to play Vanguards who will be released in the future that will fit into one of these categories. There are, however, some grey areas between these categories, where some Vanguards can be easily attributed to fitting into more than one. A good example of this is Hulk, who I play as a frontliner, but many people like to play him as a dive tank due to his jump that gives him insane movement potential and can carry you across the map in maybe 15 seconds. These categories are based on these Vanguard's abilities and how I play them. If you find a different way to play one of these heroes and it works better for you than how I play them, that's great. The more versatility, the better. Dive tanks are probably the most simple Vanguards to play. At their most basic, their only purpose is to get in behind, beat the shit out of a strategist or two, maybe a duelist if you can catch one alone, then get out before the whole enemy team realises what's happened. These Vanguards are especially effective when you flank the enemy backline whilst the rest of your team is putting high pressure on the front line. If you dive in there while the rest of your team is dead, you're going to go down faster than Ubisoft's stocks. These Vanguards also have the highest movement potential out of the entire Vanguard selection. You can keep up with the fastest heroes in the game, so getting in and out of the back line is extremely easy, especially if you're good at managing cooldowns. Along with the fast movement, dive tanks have some of the best survivability out of all Vanguards. If you include his shield capacity, Cap has around 900 to 1000 health. Venom's abilities can take his health up to 1200, 1500 I think. And if you dive with Hulk, his base health is 800 as well as his bubble shield that he gets, and his Monster Hulk form gets around 1500 health on activation. All the abilities that the dive tanks have exist purely to keep you moving, keep you alive, and keep you killing. If you include Hulk as a dive tank, then there are a couple of abilities that also impact the movement of your enemies as well. Hulk has his radioactive lockdown, Venom's tether slows enemies down as well as detonating on them for damage. Your movement abilities like Venom's swing and Cap's sprint are the core abilities that are going to carry you in and out of that enemy backline. Also, do remember to turn off easy swing for Venom if you actually want to be able to control where those big voluptuous cheeks are swinging. Your defensive abilities like Cap's shield and Venom's resilience are your only methods of survivability as a dive tank.
We're gonna do what we...
Because your strategists will not be following you into that enemy backline unless they have a burning desire to be turned into a thick red paste. The rest of your abilities are solely to help you kill the heroes in your enemy's backline. Each dive has at least one ability that allows them to attack at range or close distance while attacking. Cap has his charge and shield throw, Hulk has his clap, and Venom has his dive as well as his standard attack having medium range, on top of the ability to hit crits. Venom and Penny are also the only Vanguards in the game that benefit from headshot damage, which makes sense considering Venom puts his tentacle in your mouth and that does cause critical damage. Trust me. You like that shit?
Get ready.
Not Logan, no! The fast movement of dive tanks also frees you from relying on strategists to keep you alive and makes you more independent. Like with the faster duelists in the game, if you find yourself on low health and away from your team, your speed will carry you so that you can swallow health packs faster than a starving orphan. This is helpful in more ways than just keeping you alive. The fewer health packs on the enemy side of the map, the lower the chances that your enemies will be able to get those health packs. Going for these health packs also gives the chance that you bump into another enemy on low health who's also looking for health, which just gives you an easy kill because you're probably going to have more health as a tank.
Born again!
Oh, no, no, no! Oh!
There's still a chance to stop them.
Hey. Being able to get these health packs reliably also takes pressure off of your team's strategists. If they don't need to worry about healing you, they can focus on healing the rest of the team, which keeps them alive, which keeps the pressure on the enemy on the front line, helping you flank them more effectively. So make sure you eat those health packs, or I'll fucking eat you. Shield tanks are, as the name suggests, the most defensive Vanguards in the game in regards to abilities and strength. About half of these Vanguards' abilities are used to do nothing but block damage and protect yourself and those behind you or sometimes in front of you. While being defense orientated as shield tanks, these Vanguards can be just as useful on offense as well as defense.
You did your part.
God, I wish that was me. Shield tanks will typically always be positioned at the very front of your team's formation. This keeps you in view of your strategists for healing as well as the rest of the team behind you, so you can block incoming damage with your shields and keep your team alive.
Maximum pulse!
Being at the front of your team's formation also allows you to push and make space using your shields, as Vanguard shields allow for your teammates to shoot through them while being protected. This of course goes both ways, as you can't do damage while moving with your shield out. So if the strategists and duelists supporting you have the attention span of a cocaine-fueled autist, you're not going to be able to push very far. As for their individual abilities, shield tanks each possess the ability to draw at least one type of shield. in case you didn't figure that out already. Strange and Magneto each have a shield that they can use to block incoming damage, with Strange's having a capacity of 800, which is the highest in the game for a shield, and Magneto's having a cooldown rather than a health pool. Magneto also has the ability to cast a bubble shield around himself or an ally, similar to Hulk's bubble shield but with more health, and both of these shields work off of the same cooldown, so you can't cast more than one bubble shield at a time.
You cannot hurt me.
I must be gay the way I'm catching all these nuts. No, I didn't mean it. Emma, the third shield tank, also has a shield, but it works slightly differently to Strange and Magneto's. Emma's shield is a deployable static shield that can be placed at range, making it a useful tool for protecting yourself and your team whilst also closing distance. Do remember that all shield abilities, aside from Magneto's bubble, only block incoming projectiles. If Hulk, Thing, or anyone with melee damage punches your shields, you'll still take damage, so back up and make distance if someone tries to jump you. Oh my god, we're stranging it! Each shield tank also has at least 2 offensive abilities, so they're not just glorified turtles. All 3 of these Vanguards have ranged primary attacks covering close to medium range, which complements their shields well, especially Emma since she can attack with her shield deployed. Each shield tank also has another ability for damage, Strange having his close range detonation. Don't run, woman! Magneto has his knockback mag cannon, and Emma has her sentience crystal that she sucks out of you? Emma, of course, also has a diamond form, which is definitely not the most overtuned shit ever, since you can just kick like 4 people into walls and shatter their spinal cords in the space of 8 seconds.
The next day.
Don't think I'd get you for that shit, green bitch! Aside from the diamond domestic violence mode and Strange's bomb vest, all of these secondary attacks can reach up to medium range, similar to the primary attacks, so shield tanks thrive in close to medium range vicinity. As a shield tank, you may find yourself using your defensive abilities to protect a lot of the time, but the counter-offensive potential that shield tanks have is actually insane. That's a double!
Double KO!
Ooh! These Vanguards are at their most dangerous when pressed at close range by enemy duelists and strategists. A good combo with Strange's primary whip and detonation can immediately shred the average duelist or strategist.
By the eye of Agamotto!
Double KO!
That's a double! Fuck your healing! And the more Strange attacks, the more damage his detonation does, so he's far from useless if you break his shield. Strange also has an ability that allows him to levitate briefly, a state in which he can still use all of his abilities. So if someone tries to get in close and swing your shit, you can get out of there pretty much instantly and shoot from above. Emma is also devious at countering close range attackers, including other Vanguards, because of her diamond form. Not only is it stupid overpowered, but the kick can send enemies flying off the map if positioned well enough, and can also grab most heroes mid-ult. Stop. Now!
It's party time!
I told you to stop that shit!
It's
Fucking pussy!
time!
How many times are we gonna have to teach you this fucking lesson, you mechanical wanker? Magneto doesn't have a close range specific attack to counter pushing enemies like with Strange and Emma, but his bubble shield combined with his primary fire splash damage and his mag cannon's knockback provides good close range survivability and counter offense.
Those guys are about to shoot
I'm
at
opening a
us.
portal.
Why would he do that? After playing shield Vanguards pretty often, I have found that they can be much more useful on an attack than just providing defense and countering at close range. When pushing with shields, their medium range primary attacks are usually just long enough so that you can shoot between the enemy's frontline attackers and pressure the strategists from your team's front line, which is especially effective if you also have a dive hero jumping their backline at the same time. Entry denial Vanguards are also very self-explanatory. They pull up, they set up, and they do not let you in. These Vanguards are the only heroes of this class that specialise in deployable assets, and greatly rely on them to be effective. They also, like shield tanks, are more orientated towards defence and holding ground, but with the right team composition, they can be an essential asset to pushing forward and overpowering the enemy team. I am Goon!
Maybe time to stop them.
I'm so sorry. While these Vanguards are capable of doing damage and have good offensive abilities, they are most suited to supporting an attack rather than leading one. The main reason for this being that their deployable abilities generally can't be moved once placed without being punished by a cooldown. So on attack, the ideal way to go about attacking as an entry denial Vanguard is to be the biggest, most annoying target you can possibly be, while obstructing the enemy team's movement so that your duelists can position themselves and take them out while they're busy dealing with your bullshit.
Betrayal.
How you like them walls? In terms of defensive capabilities, entry denials are probably your best counter to divers and flankers, whether it be by blocking off doorways or leaving damaging traps in your backline, which will protect your strategists and cover your cheeks, especially on domination maps when holding a static objective.
Guess it takes a spider to peep.
Nice! Their survivability is also top tier out of all Vanguards, given that Penny and Groot have two of the highest max health values in the game, on top of Groot's walls that have a ton of health themselves. The high max health is also great for your supporting strategists, as they don't need to heal you as urgently and can focus on keeping the rest of the team topped up. Again, especially Groot, since he's just out here building houses to protect himself. Despite there being only two entry denial tanks, the variety of defensive uses and abilities between them is surprisingly wide. Groot's defense is comprised purely of placing wooden walls that obstruct the line of sight between both teams. Penny's defense works at close range, with her spider nest that covers the surrounding area with webs that damage enemies that get in behind. One has a long range deterrent, the other has a close range deterrent, so you can counter pretty much anything with the two of them. 26,000 damage blocked? Stick that up your ass and fuck it. Both of these Vanguards do also have good offensive capabilities. Both can do damage up to medium range, Penny reaching long range, and both have a method of area damage that can be thrown at pretty much any range. In terms of damage numbers, you're not going to be out damaging magic or anything, but your damage is more than good enough for you to be able to hold your own in a 1v1, maybe a 1v2 against two duelists. The defensive abilities that you have, the spider nest and the walls, do also have secondary passive uses that are often overlooked and the game doesn't really tell you about. Penny's nest grants healing over time as well as a movement boost while she's stood in the webs, and Groot's walls each have different benefits when enemies are attacked near them depending on which wall you use. The Ironwood wall, the wider one, the big chunker, has 700 health and grants healing to Groot, with the Thornlash walls having 250 health and damaging nearby enemies, as well as having a maximum of 3 being able to be placed at once. Your real strength as an entry denial Vanguard isn't your impenetrable defense, or your long range area damage, or your survivability. It's your ability to be the single most annoying individual on the field of play at any given time. Much like the average Valorant player with women, you must master the ability to interact with the opposition, but once, to drive them to the point of self-termination. You won't be doing the most damage, you won't be breaking through the front lines or making space for the team, but you will be irritating the enemy just enough so that the rest of your team can go unnoticed long enough to separate their blood from their bodies. Although their purpose is simple, actually learning and playing these Vanguards can be quite difficult. Penny has a difficulty rating of 4 and Groot has a rating of 2, which is only really down to his insane survivability and architectural skills, because playing Groot in a useful way is mainly about mastering your wall placements and barking at people, not in the way that you're thinking. Penny is also quite difficult to learn as well for the same reasons. Learning where to best place your nest and mines will make the difference between flirting and harassment, but this time harassment's the goal. Piling your mines and webbing them can lead to some of the most irritating Penny gameplay you will ever go against in this game.
Time for some fireworks.
Help, didn't you?
My pile got someone! Oh, I got someone! Hey! Get away from my sack! Holy shit! The final Vanguard category, Frontliners, are probably the Vanguards I personally find the most difficult to play. Frontliners are the Vanguards that push directly through the centre of the opposing team's defences, using crushing melee attacks, relentless charges, and sheer fucking will. Their desire for pure smoke and hands severely outweighs their body's ability to die. You fucked that up, didn't you? Come here! Fish! Oh, help! Help! Whilst I have already mentioned Hulk in the dive tank section, I consider him to be just as well equipped to be a frontliner, and I personally play Hulk more as a frontliner due to his lack of survivability compared to the other dive tanks. I would also consider Thor to be a frontline dive hybrid, just because he has solid speed and movement due to his dash, but again, it depends how you like to play them. Frontliners definitely lack survivability the most out of all of the Vanguard types, not because of one specific flaw, but because their health pools combined with a lack of self-preservation abilities and your position on the front line in the enemy's face can often lead to you getting melted instantly if you overpush even a little bit.
Watch me.
I'm getting my thing out. I shouldn't have done that. And that is very easy to do if you don't remain conscious of you and your team's positions at all times. Frontliners also specialise in very close range attacks, with the only ranged attacks they have essentially being useless unless they're integrated into a combo with other attacks. In fact, I think you have more chance of Diddy being innocent than killing someone just by using Thor's hammer throw. It fucking stinks. It's useless. Yeah, big man from the future here. Unfortunately, whilst I was editing this, the second half of Season 2 came out, and they reworked Thor, but it's a good thing. Thor's hammer throw now isn't tied to his Thor force, so he can use it without sacrificing his build-up towards the Rune Awakening mode that is his main form of damage. So now the hammer throw, along with your normal melee attack, is used to build Thor force, and now you can build Thor force at range. So his rework, in my opinion, is much better. However, they did nerf his health gained on ability use, and they cut the hammer throw's damage in half, but it didn't really do much anyway, so I don't see that as a big deal. But the damage is still shit, so do not use it as your main form of damage. The lack of range in their attacks is more than made up for in the amount of damage you can dump onto enemies using their melee attacks. Frontliners, given their position in a team's formation, will either be charging down duelists and strategists that push your team, or just straight trading fists with other vanguards and frontliners. Shield tanks cannot do their job properly if a good frontliner singles them out. Like I said earlier, shield tanks can't do shit against constant melee attacks, so walking up to a Strange or an Emma Frost and showing them your thing is a good way to really piss them off. Behold my thing! Frontline Vanguard's abilities are all orientated towards getting you in the enemy's face and beating them like they owe you money, taking that money and then beating them again with the money.
Shoot a man cut out his tongue, then shoot his tongue.
Each frontliner has at least one ability or passive that allows you to knock back enemies, which greatly enhances your ability to create space and literally push the enemy team back. Thing has his charge, Thor has his hammer dash, and Hulk's jump can literally take flying heroes out of the sky. Hulk does also have his radioactive lockdown, which I mentioned earlier, which freezes enemies in place, which isn't a knockback, but it's still an immobilizing ability, so it serves a similar purpose. The frontliner's primary attacks and secondary attacks are each set up the same way. Your primary attack is close range with high fire rate, and your secondary is a medium to long range attack with a cooldown. Your main form of damage is going to be your primary attack because of its consistent damage, but the best way to deal damage as well as survive longer is to combo your primary and secondary, and use them depending on context. Duelists and strategists will often try to fall back once they realise you're working them over, so saving your secondary for when they try to run is not a bad idea at all. This of course applies less to Thor because his hammer throw sucks dick, but it can still be useful for killing fleeing enemies on low health. If they have like 5 health left, man, his fucking hammer throw sucks dick, it's shit.
Come, dine with me in Valhalla.
Well, you heard the man, start coming. Whilst it's not their strength, each frontliner does have an ability to resist damage or shield themselves briefly. Hulk has the bubble that I mentioned earlier. Each of Thor's abilities give him temporary armor on use, and Thing has his jump, which helps him retreat as well as grants damage resistance to both you and the ally that you jump into. These abilities do help you survive, but it will rarely be enough to get you out of a 1v2, 1v3 or more. You might be an absolute unit, but you are not invincible. That's why it's generally best to fight and push alongside other frontline duelists or another Vanguard rather than push alone. She got kidnapped! Much like I said with entry denials, because you just don't have the abilities to put constant pressure and survive alone. You can get in there alone and apply constant pressure, but you will be rendered deceased in like 3 seconds, so don't do that. Don't sleep meet you!
Listen, fuckhead!
No! Even though this applies to all Vanguards, sticking by your team and strategists is even more essential for Frontliners. If the strategist healing you while you're pushing gets dived by a Black Panther, Spider-Man, Iron Fist, and you keep brawling with the enemy team's Venom for pure fucking aura points, your medic's gonna get their lungs inverted, and then you're getting jumped next. So make sure you take care of your team, or they will not take care of you. This is where your movement abilities come in, as things damage resisting jump needs to target a teammate in order to be used, so using it to jump to your backline is pretty much why it's there. Not only so you can be healed and get some resistance, but so you can punch divers to death in like 0.23 seconds. Hulk's jump also serves this same purpose, as well as being able to grapple airborne enemies, and Thor's hammer dash is great for interrupting divers because it knocks them back and holds them in place for like half a second. As much as I think every Vanguard is great to have on your team and will be an advantage when played with confidence, in my opinion, Frontliners are the worst Vanguards to be played solo. Having a team of 3 duelists and 1 Frontliner, or God forbid 4 duelists and 1 Frontliner, is hard enough as it is without a tight coordinated team. And being a solo Vanguard in this context, you're gonna need good survivability with the whole team relying on one strategist. Of course, team compositions like this aren't impossible to have fun with. If one of your 3 or 4 duelists is another hero that thrives in the front line, like read How Long Do You Need Richards, you can still push effectively and get some kills. That's what I'm saying! That's what I'm saying! Even though each Vanguard is different individually, there are still some general weaknesses that apply to all Vanguards and not just specific types. A problem that you will run into, no matter how skilled a Vanguard you are, no matter how nasty you can get with it, there are some duelists in this game that are built to be a counter to Vanguards, just due to how fast they can shred you. The main ones being Wolverine and Iron Fist. There's not really any concrete way to get around Wolverine if he gets a hold of you.
We have earned a little
Oh no, Tony! Oh no! Other than kill him faster than he can kill you, Wolverine doesn't have the best movement outside of his leap ability, so getting away from an encounter with him isn't too difficult if you're playing a dive tank or a frontliner. As a shield or an entry denial, you're going to be relying on your team to help fight him off mostly, which isn't too bad as these Vanguards are the most supportive and collaborative types, so your team will probably be nearby anyway. As for Iron Fist, he's a lot less of an immediate problem since he can't brute force his way through you or relocate you like Wolverine can with his leap. He lacks the straight beefiness that Wolverine has, so your damage will be much more effective against him.
force field, good to go.
Unlike Wolverine, however, Iron Fist's biggest asset is his movement, since he can basically fucking fly away whenever he feels like he's outmatched. This also means that he can get in behind to kill your strategists much quicker without being noticed. Thankfully, Iron Fists tend to target strategists more often than Vanguards, so the majority of encounters that you have with him will be when you're chasing him out of your backline, which you will need to do if you want your doctors to keep you alive. Nope, no thank you. Oh fuck yeah, get him! How is he still alive? Aside from those specific counter heroes, the biggest danger to you as a Vanguard is knockback and command grabs. The command grabs are more of a universal weakness as they affect everyone just as badly as Vanguards. Abilities like Emma's grab, Magic's uppercut and Mantis drugging you will always be something you need to deal with. Wait, no. But as a Vanguard, the game is a bit more generous to you, since you have more health to endure bullshit like this. The only thing you need to do is reposition yourself and fall back where necessary. Unless you like being choked by Emma, which is more than valid. Just one skin with her feet out, that's all I'm asking for. As for the knockbacks, this is mostly countered by good positioning. Knockbacks are especially dangerous to Vanguards as they lack the movement that a lot of duelists do. Vanguards like Venom, Strange and Thor that have abilities that allow them to move without touching the ground can save themselves from knockbacks, and even Jeff's ult if he decides to spit rather than swallow. This fish sucks! But even then you need these abilities to be ready. No cooldown, and you need to use it before you hit the kill box, which can be very difficult. This can be especially difficult with Venom, because you need to have your aim point perfect to swing back up, or you're gonna die. The need to be careful of knockbacks is also, of course, irrelevant for Thing, as he has a passive that makes him immovable by any command grab or knockback ability. This won't help with Jeff's ult though. That's not a knockback, that's just straight throat. The only thing I can really say to summarise all this is that playing Vanguard is like playing any role in any game. The best way you're going to learn is just by playing it. You can get as many tips as possible, you can watch 10 different tutorials on how to play certain heroes, but the only way you will develop those reactions and reflexes and get a good feel of playing the Vanguards is just by picking them and sticking with them. Experiment with your abilities and play styles. If you're pushing often and getting overwhelmed, try play more reserved. If you're not getting many kills or blocking as much damage as you think you should, try pushing a bit more and playing more bold. A general trend that I look for when I play Vanguard well is that my damage blocked and damage dealt values are very similar. This varies greatly between the different types and how long games last though. You're not going to block and deal the same amount of damage playing Groot in a ranked game of Convoy because he's just not built for that. But with Vanguards like Magneto, Venom, Emma, Thor, who have high damaging abilities and ults, it's very possible to achieve those numbers. This goes for every role in the game, but you are nothing without your team. If you're picking Captain America or Thing, then just charging into the bulk of the enemy team with no backup and fighting until you drop, you're not going to get very far. As much as they can be absolute dickheads given the state that the player base for this game is in currently, your team are your team. They are on your side, so play like it and you will be rewarded.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. While on the topic of the team, the most important thing when learning to play a new role is to have fun while playing it. Do funny shit, try new things. If you have an idea that seems stupid but might work, do it anyway. You can't objectively lose anything by losing a fucking game of Marvel fucking Rivals. And the team comes into this because there will be people who tell you you're dog shit as a Vanguard, or that you should switch because they think you're not doing enough, or because they want a certain team up that they crutch on and can't play without. I am looking at you, Spider-Man players. And no, I will not play Venom just because you can't play without your giant black cum move. What I'm saying is, if you want to try out a Vanguard, try it out and be confident while doing it. Fuck what anyone in your lobby says, especially if they're a duelist.
Wankers. Fucking embarrassing.